Hollywood didn't cancel these black TV characters, it erased them, and in one case, a network executive picked up the phone personally to make sure a specific character never appeared on screen again. If you grew up watching black television in the 1970s and 1980s, you watched people who told the truth about your life in ways nothing else on
just for tonight, just through dinner.
Do you know what this could do?
Television would. Then they vanished, not because audiences left, not because the characters failed, but because someone decided brilliant black characters were more dangerous than they were profitable. There is one character on this list most people under 40 have never heard of, and when you find out what Hollywood replaced them with, you will understand exactly how the erasure worked. J.J. Evans, Good Times. Before we get to J.J. Evans, ask yourself this: when you picture him, what do you see first? The answer to that question is exactly how Hollywood won. J.J. Evans was a self-taught artist from a Chicago housing project who dreamed of making it out through his work. Every painting he made was an act of defiance. Every sketch was a young black man insisting,
JJ, get up, it's after 7.
Oh, wow. Come on, Thelma, just 2 more minutes.
that his gifts were real, even when nothing around him confirmed it. The show's early seasons treated that dream seriously. They gave it weight. They let JJ be funny and talented and scared and ambitious at the same time. Then the network found the version of JJ that was easiest to laugh at. The catchphrase arrived. The depth retreated. John Amos publicly stated the show was being turned into a minstrel performance. He was written out. The artist got buried under the clown. For black audiences watching carefully, J.J. Evans was always a young black man with real gifts that the world was designed to waste. Hollywood made sure the catchphrase is what survived. But here is the rewatch detail most people miss. In Season 1, J.J.'s paintings are visible on the apartment walls in nearly every scene. By Season 3, they are gone. Nobody announced it. They just disappeared. Exactly like the character underneath the joke. What comes next on this list will make you rethink one of the most beloved black TV families ever put on screen. Florida Evans, Good Times. Florida Evans was the most powerful woman on American television in the 1970s. She held a family together in a Chicago housing project with no money and no safety net. She turned nothing into something every week. Not just food, but dignity and love that felt real because it was drawn from real black women's lives. The writers gave her one of the most devastating moments in television history. The night James died and she stood in that kitchen and screamed, "Damn, damn, damn," for black families watching. That wasn't grief on a screen. That was recognition. Someone was finally showing what black women actually carry and what it costs to carry it without breaking. That scene should have made Esther Rolle a permanent television icon. Instead, the network spent the following seasons slowly dismantling everything that made Florida Evans matter. Her faith became background noise. Her strength became stoicism. The complexity got traded for warmth that was easier to schedule around. Today's networks would never build Florida Evans because modern television is so committed to showing black women elevated and aspirational that it has forgotten how to make them human. That specific combination of exhaustion, grief, and faith is too uncomfortable for networks that need their black women uncomplicated. For black audiences, Florida Evans was proof that strength didn't require perfection. Hollywood buried her and handed America 100 softer replacements. None of them have lasted. She has. Stay with us. Number 4 was considered so threatening that what happened behind the scenes has never been fully reported. Whitley Gilbert, A Different World. Whitley walked into Hillman College with her nose in the air and her accent carrying old Southern black money, and audiences loved her immediately because they had met her before. She was the girl who had absorbed every message about propriety and used it as armor. She was sometimes wrong. She was always real. She grew in ways you could actually track. Jasmine Guy played every note, the selfishness, the brittleness, the moments when the armor slipped and something genuine came through. Whitley's evolution from entitled freshman to a woman grappling with what her privilege meant inside the larger story of Black America was writing that trusted its audience completely. Modern networks handle complex black female characters with so much protective calculation that the humanity gets processed out before cameras roll. Every edge gets smoothed. Every contradiction resolved too fast. The result is characters who are impressive but not true. For black audiences, Whitley held up a specific mirror, the pressure of being a black woman with advantages who was still not free. Hollywood doesn't want that mirror in prime time. Whitley made people uncomfortable in ways that made them feel understood. That combination is apparently unacceptable. The answer about syndication is coming. But first, the character at number 4, Uncle Phil, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. During early development of The Fresh Prince, network executives repeatedly pushed to make Philip Banks softer, less stern, more willing to be the punchline. James Avery refused every single time. A network that controlled his contract was pushing to flatten the most complex black father on primetime television. One actor held the line alone. Philip Banks came from nothing in the rural South. He studied law when black men studying law was an act of confrontation. He built something real inside a system designed to exclude him, and never stopped knowing what that cost. Every scene where Phil showed anger, Avery played the layers underneath: the fear for the next generation, the memory of his own hunger, the knowledge that one misstep could erase everything. The scene where Phil tells Will about his own absent father, voice breaking for just a few seconds, is one of the most honest portrayals of black male vulnerability ever broadcast. The network wanted to cut it. Avery fought to keep it. For black families watching, Uncle Phil was the relative who had made it and still answered the phone. When James Avery died in 2013, an entire generation felt it because he had refused to let Hollywood make Philip Banks small. He protected that character with his career. It cost him. He did it anyway. Maxine Shaw, living single. Maxine Shaw was a lawyer who took up space without apology, and black women across America watched her and felt something they couldn't always name. She was loud. She was certain. She was funny without diminishing herself. She argued with Kyle Barker because she refused to perform softness for his comfort, and she never backed down once. Living Single ran for 5 seasons, pulled strong ratings, and produced characters black audiences still quote 30 years later. Then it was canceled. Within 1 season, Friends appeared with a nearly identical premise and received cultural immortality, Emmy nominations, and a legacy never questioned. The creators of Living Single have spoken about this. The comparison is not subtle. It is the entire history of black television in one example. Take the concept, remove the black characters, hand it to white actors, and let it run for 10 years. Maxine Shaw deserved to define a generation of television. Instead, she was quietly canceled and replaced by a copy that didn't have to be black to succeed. For black viewers, she was the friend who made your loudness feel like a gift. Hollywood moved on. The memory didn't. Dwayne Wayne. A Different World. Dwayne Wayne wore flip-up glasses and fell in love with Whitley Gilbert across 4 seasons and represented something television had almost never shown: a black man who was nerdy and romantic and completely unashamed of both. He studied engineering. He made mistakes and came back. The show never punished him for being soft. It never suggested his sensitivity was weakness. The series finale where Dwayne interrupts Whitley's wedding is one of the most watched moments in black television history. People called relatives to make sure they were watching, because Dwayne had made them care about a black man's heart in a way that prime time almost never allows. Kadeem Hardison gave him a sweetness that should have become a template. Instead, the industry spent the following decade producing harder, cooler, more guarded black men, because someone decided that was safer. They were wrong. They just didn't care enough to find out. For black viewers, Dwayne Wayne proved that vulnerability and blackness were not opposites, that a black man could be brilliant and romantic and worthy of a love story that took 4 seasons to resolve. Hollywood filed that proof somewhere it has never found again. These characters told the truth about black life in America during decades when truth was the most dangerous thing you could put on television. They were complicated and tired and brilliant and sometimes wrong and always worth watching. Hollywood buried them under 50 years of safer, smoother replacements, characters designed to be palatable instead of real. None of those replacements have lasted the way these 6 have lasted. In memory, in the way black families still reference them at dinner tables as though talking about people they actually knew, because in the most important sense they were. Which of these characters still lives in your memory? Drop their name in the comments and tell us one moment you have never forgotten. Hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss another story about the black television Hollywood tried to take from us.
Everybody out! Out! Out!
I think they're both beautiful, don't you, Mama?
I mean, they're different. Thelma, she's got that real beautiful beauty. And JJ?
Just for tonight, just through dinner.
Do you know what this could do to my reputation?
Yes, and you can pay me later.
Annie?
JJ, get up. It's after 7.
Oh, wow. Come on, Thelma, just 2 more minutes.